Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. Look at this. Would y'all believe me if I told you that just 2 days ago there wasn't a leaf in this yard? It's that time of year. You can mow a yard, it can look amazing until you leave. They're literally raining right now. We are full-blown in mowing season, and I made the phone call to my dealer to ask them, when did I buy this mower of mine? You know, the Skag Tiger Cat 2 that lives in there. And they said, you bought it in April, 2 years ago. And I said, when's the warranty run out? They said in April this year. And I said, okay, I need to get the mower up there. Why? Because I want to get the mower checked out before the warranty runs out. And they said, bring it up here. So today, we are going to take the mower to the dealer and see what kind of parts we can get for free, because we don't want to pay for them when the warranty runs out. Also, just discovered that my front tire on my truck picked up a friend yesterday. So we're going to have to deal with that today as well. I should really do something about how dirty this truck is. It's really starting to get ahead of me. Maybe today, maybe not. You ever just decide how your day's gonna go based on how many times you have to back up to a trailer? I do. If it takes me 3 times, sometimes I feel like starting over. That's another thing I hate about Fords. They give you a remote start with a key fob, and if you leave it in your pocket, anytime the door closes, it tells you that you got out of the car with the key. Anybody else hate that? I do. Especially when it gets to be like full-blown mowing season, where I'm getting out of here at 6 a.m. before everybody else in there wakes up, because they get to wake up to my alarms going off in the driveway because my door closed with the key in my pocket. Boom! Gonna be a good day. First try. Happy voting day. Happy voting day. You know what I love most about voting time? Is being the person that has to mow around all those signs. And I think every time I come back, these signs have multiplied. There's so many signs for who you're gonna vote for in that yard right there that I hope someone wins. And I hope when they do win, they come back and pick those signs up. Everybody says, oh man, look at those pretty orange mowers. I wonder if they have a blue one inside. Let's go find out. They are going to look at the mower. They think that there is a leak on one of the hydraulic pumps. Both of my front casters need to be adjusted, but they're gonna look at the bearings. Almost every one of my idler bearings on the deck are, they're bad. And they're gonna take a look at the spindles, because we had 4 replaced last year. And most of this will be under warranty. They're also gonna do a little tune up on the motor, make sure it's doing the right RPM. And I went inside to check it out. No blue ones. Awesome. Discount Tire looks not very busy, so maybe this won't be a big deal with the trailer hooked up. But let's get this tire plugged. Good news, they are not very busy, and I don't have to unhook the trailer. They had me pull off to the side of the road, where they're just gonna jack the truck up, take that tire and fix it and put it back on, with the trailer still hooked up. He said I could hang out in the truck while I wait. I think that's a little hack. They think I'm waiting on this to go to work, so they're rushing me through the system. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose or if they're just awesome. I don't actually need it to work today, but I love that it's getting fixed so fast. Uh-oh, that's gonna be a problem. That tire's getting real low. Oh wait, it's gone. It's inside getting worked on. It's still showing 16 PSI. And just like that, we're on our way. We also got a phone call from a potential new customer that wants us to come take a look at her yard. So that's where we're going now. Also, how many people hate that it says low tire pressure until you drive for a little while, then it goes away? Do all trucks do that? Or is that just Ford? Because I know the pressure's right, but it will not reset that alarm until you drive just a little bit. Well, this is a new neighborhood. I've never been down this street in my life. Look at all these houses. You know what happens? Once you get one, you get more than one. Unfortunately, I'm probably not gonna get them as a customer, and at least not for what they want. They wanted someone who does, I guess, herbicides and fertilizing and all kind of that special yard treatment, which of course I'm not licensed to do, nor can I buy all the products or do it correctly. I can just go to Lowe's and put out fertilizer for you. So I referred them to someone else. Maybe though, I might end up mowing their yard because they've seen us around, they know we're in the area, so might end up with a mowing customer. See, I told you, just drive around for a little bit and the low pressure alarm goes off. Don't know why it takes so long. It's clearly reading the right pressure, but it still says that you have a low tire for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles, and then it just goes, oh, my bad. You were right, it wasn't flat. Welcome to Southern Tractor. This is where I buy all my handhelds. All my Echo stuff is bought here. And I need some parts because yesterday we realized that we're due to change the fuel filters and air filters on all of our handhelds, mostly the ones we use every day. So the 2620 trimmers, the 7910 blower, they're all running a little rough. And when we pulled the air filters, they were full of dirt and leaves, and the fuel filters are probably just as bad as well. So we're gonna get those because we want our equipment to keep running. And yesterday, some of our equipment didn't act like it really wanted to run very much. All right, we have air filters, more air filters, only one fuel filter because they're not here yet. Their order's coming in Friday, and 2-stroke oil. And I talked to him about some of the problems I'm having with my original equipment, the equipment I bought on day one, and he told me fuel filters, air filters, and then he said check the spark arrestor, and then he said maybe make adjustments to the high and low screws. I'm thinking it's probably all those, but he told me to go check the spark arrestor first, and then we'll see. So let's go home and play with some weed eaters, and maybe you guys can help me out, because I feel like some of my original equipment, the older equipment that just has been running since day one, it runs great when it's running, but it just takes a while to get ready to go to work, if you know what I mean. Do we need to order those screws to help adjust the high and low settings? I just found out he can't sell me those tools because it's an EPA thing, but you can buy them online. And he also told me that he can't really advise me on how to adjust them, but he said that's also online as well. So do you guys let the shop do it, or do you have the special tools to adjust your carburetors? And is it worth it? Like, is all this for nothing because maybe I'm just at the end of the life cycle of these machines? All right, so here it is. Echo 2620. This is the original one I bought with my mower, and I bet it has the same amount of hours as the mower. And since the mower's around 600, this thing probably has around 600 hours because it's been there since the beginning. Now I'll show you what it does. It works fine. It's just not brand new. There like it used to be. And it struggles a little bit when you first start it. So we're gonna change the air filter, we're gonna change the fuel filter, and then we're gonna check out these exhaust ports, which he says are likely clogged up, causing a lot of my problems. And then he said after that, then considering going on the internet, the black market internet, and buying the micro D tools so that you can adjust this carburetor, because he says usually you can just tweak it out. So we're gonna do some maintenance, see if it gets any better. All right, new fuel filter, new air filter, and we did the screen, but it wasn't where he said. He said it was behind these two holes right here. It's actually behind the muffler. Our screen was fine. We took it apart, looked at it, put it back together. I'm telling you right now, just the fuel filter and the air filter made this thing pop a little bit. And maybe the screen was dirty, but it didn't feel dirty to me. I also adjusted the idle set screw because once I changed all the stuff, it felt like it was dying. So I turned it up a little bit so it idles a little better. But yeah, it feels a lot better. Mostly probably because we were sucking dirty fuel and dirty air into this thing. Just goes to show you, sometimes the best tools won't work right because you're well overdue maintenance. Now, we do this like every 6 months. Maybe every 6 months is not the recommended time frame for the main weed eater and blower. So what are you guys' thoughts on lifespan or expected lifespan of things like this? 2 years, 3 years, 600 hours, 1,000 hours? I mean, these are more expensive, so you might spend money on those, but these only cost like $3.99 a piece. So like, after 2 years, do you just replace it? Because if you put it in the shop after like an hour and a half, like you've already paid what it cost to buy a new one. So how much do you invest in these? Is 2 years all you can expect? We're on the 3rd year for this one. 2nd year for this one. This one's never been used much. This one doesn't get used much. But you can tell this one is significantly older than this one. And I only know that it will be gradually worse and worse as time goes on. Right now, it's still in the trailer. But at what point do you say, hey, that's enough, it's done its thing, it's time to go off to pasture? It still works, but at some point you're gonna have to replace that because that thing takes a beating all day, every day. How often do you replace them? I'm thinking I would love to get, if this thing could survive the whole year, I would be like, awesome job. We'll put you on Facebook Marketplace for like $100 and be like, well used, will work at your house, but not great for commercial mowing applications. Or do you just throw it away and start over? Is it just not worth it after you put 3 years of use into it? Y'all let me know, what do y'all do? How long do y'all expect these things to last before you replace them? And we are back, and so is the mower. I actually picked it up 2 days ago. It's been running like a champ, but they fixed so many things at the shop. So the big one, the one I pointed out, was the hydraulic pump right here. So the fan was rattly and it was leaking. So they went ahead and I believe they changed the top seal on the pump and they fixed the fan to where it doesn't, whatever that was doing. It was so irritating and it was almost impossible to find because you're sitting on top of it, but you could hear a rattle and you just thought something was going on. It's so hard to find the rattle when you're sitting on it because it doesn't really rattle when you're not moving. But they fixed that. They checked out the old 36 horse Briggs, said it's good to go. Good job on maintenance, keep it up. They also checked out the deck and we got a lot changed down here. So 1 bearing, 2 bearing, 3 bearing, 4 bearing, and 5 bearing. All 5 of those bearings got replaced under warranty. And he says almost all the idlers, this one not so much, but these right here that pivot, they kind of just wobble back and forth and it wears the bearing out on one side. He said there's nothing you can do about it but just keep replacing them. So that's actually the 3rd time I've replaced them in the first 600 something hours. They checked out the spindles because last year we had 4 spindles go bad under warranty and they said the spindles look fine. They checked these out, these were good. These, they tightened these up and didn't like it, so I got all new bearings in both front casters on this part right here. These were good. These, they said, weren't bad, but they went ahead and changed them. And they did a once over on the whole machine. Checked out the clutch and everything and said, you're good to go. And I put it through the test. And I just mowed for, yesterday we mowed for 12 hours. Today we mowed for 9 hours today. So that's a lot of hours of mowing. And this thing is running like a champ. Now you could tell that these bearings were getting bad because you could just hear like a dragging noise when it was running. If you've heard it before, you know what I mean. Like it's just a slightly different noise and you can tell the bearings are starting to go out. Much different than a spindle noise. The spindle noise, you know it's there. But these right here, you just hear it. It's like a small growl. So until it totally fails, you can't hardly tell it's happening. You can sort of see it, but it's hard to see it with you off the machine because it's hard to run the machine with this open and the blades running. But like if you take the belts off, they show me how to test for them and how you can, you know, basically maneuver them to see that, oh yeah, they're bad. They even checked out the push bars and the rollers back there. We're as good as we're gonna be because the warranty runs out in about 30 days. Which brings me to the next point. New mowers are expensive. I asked my dealer about the Bluebird Skag. I don't think I'm gonna get one, at least not from them, because they want a lot of money for that blue Skag. It's like $17,500, and you don't even get the biggest motor. It only comes with the Kawasaki and Tweels. I was under the impression that the Tweels were optional and the motor was optional, but apparently it's a package deal. So I'm not sure I want the blue one, because I'm a firm believer in the biggest motor you can get on every machine, and they don't offer it with the 40 horsepower motor, only a 38. Also, I'm not exactly sold on Tweels yet. Some people say they're good, some people say they're bad. I don't know. I just know that these work just fine. I don't know that I want to spend $1,000 on tires. Also, I got a quote for this one. The same exact thing. They actually don't make this one like this anymore. All the Tiger Cats come in the blackout package. So basically the frame will be black and the deck will be orange. It looks pretty cool. It will not match this one. They wanted $13,700 for that, which I know if I drive down the road to another dealer, I get it for $13,000 out the door. So they're about $700 higher on the same model, which makes me think $13,000 versus $16,000. $16,000 is what the other dealership quoted me for the Bluebird. Is $3,000 difference enough to say that the mower is going to last $3,000 longer? Because at the end of the day, it just mows grass. Like the bells and whistles and the features, they're fine, they're cool. But really, I want to know how many days or hours will I get out of this machine until I have to replace it? So is it worth the $3,000? Will I get $3,000 more income out of it? Hopefully I do. But are we talking about 6-month difference, a year difference, 2 years difference? How much longer will a Cheetah last than a Tiger Cat? Because I'm looking at it, this is an asset, it makes money. At some point it's going to need to be replaced. It's going to be no longer cost effective to keep repairing, it's better to replace. That's what you got to think about. Is the $3,000 worth the extra investment? I don't know if it is, but I know that blue one sure looks sweet, and I would love to have a blue one. But I'm gonna have to think about it, because it means I have to go to a Kawasaki, and I would not have the biggest horsepower motor. So that being said, I'm gonna go think about it. I'm gonna mow my yard before the storm gets here. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one.